The total number of deaths in World War I was 17 million. The total number of deaths in World War II was somewhere between 60 to 80 million, making it the world's deadliest conflict to date. World War III is a hypothetical war that is expected to surpass both the First and Second World Wars in the level of scope and amount of destruction. It is said in the Bible that World War III will kill a third of the world's population. That's around 2 billion people. But is that really the truth? Realistically, how many casualties will there be in World War III? Welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm Charlotte Dobre. World War II was supposed to be the war to end all wars, which makes the assumption that there would never again be a global conflict of that size. World War II was ended by the development and deployment of nuclear weapons. The world was shocked by the mass devastation and civilian death caused by the atomic bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But then it became apparent during the Cold War in 1947 that other nations were developing nuclear weapons, mainly the Soviet Union. Many countries on Earth since then have developed nuclear weapons, should they ever need them. There are more than 31,000 nuclear warheads known to be maintained by global powers. Why are there so many nations developing nuclear weapons if there isn't at least the slight possibility that they will be used? Thankfully, the Cold War ended because the American and Soviet leaders decided to avoid a conflict that would impact life on the planet for years to come. Let's hope the same logic is used to stop World War III from happening, but sometimes in war, logic gets thrown out the window. One is to assume that if World War III broke out, the use of nuclear weapons would be at the forefront of the fight. Technology has advanced substantially since the Second World War, especially military technology. Global military powers are prepared for the worst, because it's not just nuclear bombs we have to be worried about. Biological warfare is another major concern. If enough biochemical weapons are used, it would perhaps render much of our Earth uninhabitable. At the end of World War II, Albert Einstein suggested that a third world war would divert mankind back to the Stone Age. He said, "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." One can assume that from this statement, World War III would have catastrophic consequences, to the point where the human race would succeed in nearly exterminating ourselves and our current societies. Last time I checked, Albert Einstein was a pretty smart guy, so it's probably best we heed his warning. As for the actual amount of casualties in World War III, it depends on who you ask, and it also depends if we are foolish enough to start the nuclear weapon domino effect. If nuclear warheads are used and they hit highly populated areas, the number of casualties would be unimaginable. To put it into perspective, the total population of the top 10 largest cities is around 178 million people. So if every major city is wiped out, that's around the maximum amount we're looking at. The number of casualties would also be dependent on how long it takes for everyone to say, okay, maybe a world war is not worth all this devastation, and the bombing stops. So that's the number of casualties in the short run, as in initially. Nuclear fallout has devastating consequences, such as wiping out food supplies and clean drinking water. Power grids would be shorted and electronics would be useless. The economy could also collapse. Millions more will die in the years to come, possibly even doubling the number of deaths. Hopefully World War III would not be fought with nuclear weapons. If the global powers decide to exercise restraint and the world is pulled into a global conflict without nuclear weapons, around 100 to 150 million could die. Statistically, we are due for a huge war, but let's hope that history has taught us that there won't be a world to fight for if we employ the use of nuclear weapons in World War III. I'm Charlotte Dobre. Don't forget to like this video and share your topic suggestions in the comments below. Oh yeah, and subscribe to Life's Biggest Questions for all of your answers.